Hi, this is Ramna from .NETIQ.com. In this screenshot, I'm showing how to develop a simple WCF service. I'm doing this service in Visual Studio 2008. I'm going to the new project, go to the WCF and select the WCF service library. I'm writing a employee service. Employee service. I selected the WCF service library template, so by default it creates some service, iService and service classes. I'm not going to use those two, so I am deleting those. Okay, I'm adding a class called employee. This is employee entity. I'm using this employee class as the input and output for few of the operations in my service contract. Employee, this class I'm using as the input and output few of the methods in my service contract. I'm adding the properties string employee ID, then string employee name, and string employee address. Just I want to keep this class as simple, so I'm just adding only three properties. Since this class means this entity is using as an input and output parameter in a service, means this class has to be serialized. So in .NET WCF we have a different types of serializations available, but in this example I am just using the data contract serialization. The type means other types of the serialization and the pros and cons of the each serialization we'll discuss in another video. So I am using as a data contract and the beauty of the data contract serialization is if you want you can restrict a few of the properties not to be serializable. Means if you decorate the properties as a data member, those properties is going to be serialized. If you don't want, you just don't mention it the property as a data member. Okay, I'm just adding a service contract. Basically I'm adding a interface. Employee is a class. I'm just converting as the interface, public interface, and I'm adding the methods like add employee, and get employees, by name, and delete employee by ID. So I want to make this interface as a service contract, but service contract can be a interface or can be a class, but the best practice is if you make the service contract as a interface as a service contract, so that you can have a different implementations. So the best practice is make the interface as a service contract. And inside each function has to be decorated as an operation contract. So I'm adding a class for the implementing this interface. Employees, employee service per class service model, and I'm implementing the interface, service contract interface. I employee, and one more thing is, since I don't have the DB to store the adding the employees, so I am just using the same class, means the same object for all the requests. So I want to make this class as a kind of singleton class, so that it is going to maintain the all the employees details in process memory. So to make this class as a single class or singleton class, we need to configure that, means we need to specify that using the service behavior. Service behavior like instance context mode equal to instance context mode dot single. So I am just creating the list of the employee classes. The constructor of this class, I am going to specify constructor of the class, instantiating the employee list, instantiating the class list, and the add employee. Oh shit, I forgot to give the employee as the input. I'm changing both the places, interface and class. Here I'm adding the employee list. That add of the employee, and here I am return employee list dot find all name dot equals to the name, and here I am deleting the employee list dot remove, then employee list dot find the employee, find it dot employee ID dot equals employee ID. Here I am just writing the lambda expression to find the exact employee object and removing that object from the employee list. I think one more closing brackets is missing. That's it. We implemented all the three operations. Yes, build is successful. The next is configuring the WCF service. Visual Studio itself, they are providing a tool configuration tool. Right click on the app.config and open the edit WCF configuration. See the endpoint employee services. If you notice here, it's still showing the service 1, but we removed that service 1 and we added our service. So go to this and select this. This is the service. Okay, then go to the endpoint URLs. This one will, this is the actual service. Even it is also showing the world service 1. You need to select the service from the DLL, and there is one for MEX endpoint, that means metadata exchanger endpoint. This will give the metadata of your service, and if you want, you can change the behavior service name also. Service behaviors, because still it's saying. So here I can change the, means if you want, I can change the name of the behavior also. Employee service behavior, and it is going to automatically update here. Okay, then you need to save. So it is going to reflect in our app.config. See here, we have the endpoint URL. It has the address, binding and contract. Address will tell the actually where the service is hosted, and binding will tell that how the service is communicated. It is through HTTP or NetTCP or NetPipe or MSMQ. Means .NET framework itself, it provides different bindings for different scenarios, and the contract is the one actual has the implementation of the service. It is going to explain what exactly the service is going to do, and each operation will tell that what exactly the function it's going to do. Okay, and now I'm going to execute this service. Just click the F5, or so it is going to launch a test client. Means Visual Studio itself, it's providing the test client. You can do that here. I'm just adding a employee address, some test address. I am giving the employee ID as 1 and the name as a sample I am giving, and just giving invoke the service. So we added the employee to employee service. Now we can test that. See that we gave the name as a sample. If you give the sample name and get employees by name, you can invoke. See that test address and the one sample, whatever you entered, you can see that. If you want, you can delete the service employee ID, whatever we gave. You just give the one and invoke. Now it's deleted, and if you want, you can confirm by giving the sample, invoke it. That's it. It's showing the length is 0. I hope it helps you to understand how to create a simple WCF service. I will cover the more detail of each, like bindings and serializations, and a few more WCF interview questions in my next videos. Thank you. Bye.